Fucking live. All right. Morning, everybody. Um, so they took Cops off the air, and HBO took the Gone with the Wind series down, and man, censorship is just gone crazy. You know, it's like it's like these riots. These corporations are buying up copyrights and buying up uh, uh, what do you call it? Anyway, they're buying up the rights to all these movies and things, and then they take them away or ban them, from history. And when our kids grow up, that history is not going to be there. So, and just the same thing along with the statues that they're taking down. That history is not going to be there for them. What are they going to replace it with? You know what I mean? What's going to replace this stuff that inherently isn't hurting anybody? You know, it's not taken as racially uh, justifiable if unless you take it wrong. You know what I mean? It's basically it's history. It's there to remind us of things. You know, especially multimedia, especially movies and music and the artwork and stuff like that. There should be laws passed that things like that can't be banned or taken away. You know, because that's just wrong. That's hurting our future generations. That's erasing history. You shouldn't be able to erase history like that and replace it with what you think is right, or just all of a sudden skip 150 years in the history books and say that it never happened. And you don't have any uh, idea of how you got to this point in history. You know what I mean? How did we get here? Is a big question all little kids have. And if you give them false narrative, they're going to grow up being false. And the future of mankind is going to go down the wrong fucking path, guys. The wrong fucking path. I'm telling you right now. And like, we won't be able to get off this world and escape the nova that's gonna come in the next 300 years, 100 to 300 years. Because all the signs are pointing to the sun going nova, at least a micronova, or if anything, a super flare that scorches half the earth. And sends erases those civilizations that are on that side of the planet. And eventually the rest of the civilization will fall, because of the fallout. If we don't get off this planet in the next 50 to 100 years, our species is fucked. We'll go extinct. And the fucking cockroaches, and I believe the next wave of things inhabiting this planet will be the insects, because they can survive just about anything, radiological things and all kinds of stuff. The insects have been around for billions of years, and they will remain and probably evolve. If not evolve, they'll just overrun everything. But mammals and reptiles are a little bit more resilient than mammals, but all the mammals will be gone in the event of a nova, and they'll have to re-evolve out of whatever's left. Maybe a small mouse-like mammal would be left, or one of those what do you call something phages? Those little the six-legged pig looking microscopic things that they invented. Maybe those would be left. But You know, these corporations buying up the copyrights and stuff to all these films and making them unable for viewing is bullshit. Is totally bullshit. And for Gone with the Wind, for Gone with the Wind had the first female black actress that won an Oscar, and they want to take that away. You know, it's just like the riots, them burning their own neighborhoods down, or allowing people to come in from the outside and burn their neighborhoods down. Who wins? Who wins out of that? Nobody fucking wins. I mean, yeah, you have to rebuild, but there's that time where you're not making any money, and that money that to rebuild has to come from somewhere. You know, we're already in 26, 27 trillion dollars in debt. China's fixing to RV and buy up all these loans from these banks that are going insolvent. It's already started happening. Pretty soon, your mortgage will be paid off, and you'll be like, "Oh, right, honey, look, the bank paid our, said we don't owe them no money." But yeah, 2 weeks later, you're going to get a bill or an eviction notice, or they're going to come take your house. These Chinese fuckers. Just watch and see. It's going to be bad, guys. We're in the dizzy spell after you bump your head before you actually pass out and go into a fucking coma that there might not be any recovery from. You know, we just bumped our head on the table, and we just tripped and fell and bumped our head on the table. Now we're standing up and we're really dizzy, and it's right before you pass out. You know, we're in that phase of I would compare it to right being hit in the head and right before you pass out into a coma. That's where we're at as a nation, as the world, really, because the world is protesting this bullshit. You know, I mean, to virtue signal like this, to kneel down and ask for, and say you're sorry for something you didn't fucking do, and something that hasn't occurred, really hasn't occurred in over 40 years, 50 years. You know, there hasn't been any real racism around for a long time. Not in any substantial amount that would make any fucking difference to the government or anything like that. You know. And hell, the Ku Klux Klan was made by Democrats. You know, the Democratic Party did that. So, I mean, just like Antifa now, we've got these fascists and these communists destroying our way of life. And I tell you what, it's only a matter of time before you piss the white man off. And they haven't done it yet, but all these boogaloo boys and stuff like that, man, I tell you what, there's more of them than what you think. There's more of them than what you think. And they ain't going to be scared. And if the UN comes in, if the Blue Helmets come in to rein in peace and stuff, or to take over these police departments that they're talking about defunding or getting rid of, then you're really going to have problems, you know, real problems. So I'm just saying, we're on the precipice. We're on tippy toes on the ledge here. And if people don't wake up real quick to what's really going on, you know, with the deep state and everything trying to manipulate us, just because of an election, just because they disagree with our president on some things, you know, I think Trump's doing a good job. I haven't really heard from him in a couple of days. I guess I ought to check the Twitter feeds and see what he's saying. But like the last thing he did was excuse me, was go after Twitter when he signed that executive order and is going to unleash the FCC on these social media giants. So I'm just waiting for that to go into effect the next 60 to 90 days. It'll go into effect, and they won't be able to stomp on content like I want to put out. I put out some pretty racy content about Floyd, and it got struck down. You know, but we all know now that this whole COVID thing, the lockdowns were not necessary, and we're going to look back on these protests and riots and say, you know what, that simply wasn't necessary, because a couple days after Floyd died, 18 black people got shot in uh, what was it, Chicago or Minneapolis or somewhere. They died um, by gang-related violence. Black on black crime. But where's their outrage at? If they really wanted to fix this problem, uh, they would have fixed it years ago. But it brings in money. These organizations like Antifa and Black Lives Matter, all they want is more money for political foothold, and to push their propaganda. Without the problems being there, they wouldn't exist. So why would they want to get rid of the problem? They just make it worse. They find ways to make it worse, and that's why we should make those types of organizations fucking illegal. You know, it, personal interest, man. It's that's all it is. It's a bunch of narcissistic, fucking self-righteous virtue signaling that's going on, and it needs to be stopped. It needs to be stopped. And if you're doing it and you're to blame for it, you're to blame for where our country's headed. And it's not a good place. We're not going to be in a good place this time next year. I guarantee it. Until if Trump don't get back in there. If Trump gets back in there and fixes everything, gets the Senate and the House both conservative, you know, Republican, conservative, libertarians, then we're going to have real problems, because nothing's getting done right now without an executive order. You know, hopefully they pass the HEROES Act and we get a second stimulus, because that's the only thing that's going to save our ass right now. This is Mr. Mission Control. I'm out of here. Peace out, motherfuckers.